And welcome everyone to another episode of the Indie Spotlight. Today I've got an awesome creator on, one of my good friends. We've known each other for quite a while now online, and I'm excited to talk to him about his crowdfunding project today. So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself?
So hello, thank you for having me on the show. I'm Nashutobi. I'm a writer and artist from Ukraine. I'm an amateur writer and artist from Ukraine. I don't have really any credits so far. I'm working on my first book, a graphic novel called Colton Crux. It's an occult noir about an occult detective in a vein of Constantine and uh, old occult detectives like Karnaki.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my project.
That's awesome, man. I love your influences there too. That's great.
Yeah, it's
And
very influenced by
mm,
Lovecraft work and old New Year movies, especially with Humphrey Bogart. I really got into his old movies, and he's the main inspiration behind my main character.
oh, that's awesome, man. So how did you first start coming to create your comic? What inspired you to want to create something?
So it definitely started with diversity in comics. I've There's no comic book culture in Ukraine, so
Oh
I
wow.
wasn't reading comics, and I learned about comics from movies, uh, because those movies are just as popular here as everywhere. So yeah, I started watching comic book movies. It was the beginning of the whole superhero movie craze. So I got into it. I wanted to learn more about the comics. I started googling it, and I found his channel, and I learned about the state of the industry. And I always wanted to tell my own stories, but I was too much into American culture at that point,
Mm.
and American language. I I was watching all my media in English, so it was really hard for me to write in Ukrainian, and I wasn't good enough to write in English either. So I have trouble with writing my own book. And then I got into his video and learned about the state of the media, and I got to learn about good comics, what consider a good comic. I started to research it, and I realized that that was the best way to go for me to tell the story, because you don't need to write much. You can actually visually explain it. Know what
That's
I mean?
awesome. Yeah. No, that's really true. Yeah, it's a kind of a really interesting visual kind of combination of writing and not visual kind of coming together. It
Yeah,
is
I'm a
it
big
is
fan
it
of
is
the
unique.
movies, of
Right.
the
Yeah.
visuals. I really
Do you have any favorite
so
movies?
my favorite movie.
Yeah. Do
Like,
you have any favorites?
definitely, it's gonna be The Shadow, the old Shadow with
Oh wow,
Baldwin.
really? Oh
Yeah.
wow, classic man, good
So
classic. Yeah.
yeah, so that movie is not considered a good movie,
Oh, that's
but
too funny.
I think it's the best superhero movie. I
Oh
know this
really?
is a controversial
Oh
opinion, but I
yeah,
think
that's
it's the best.
yeah, you're hoping only MCU fanboys knocking down our doors now.
Well, for that time, it was very visually creative and very visually rich. There are a
Mm.
lot of style in it. The cast is great. The script is great. It's really a crazy movie. The people who watched it a long time ago and think it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie, should rewatch it. It's actually way better than you think.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to give that one
Seriously.
a watch. Yeah,
And the
I'll definitely give
soundtrack
that a watch.
just heavenly.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's an amazing soundtrack. Really
Oh
haunting
wow.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that sounds
cast
cool,
is
man.
amazing too. There's this actor. I forget his name. He's a fan favorite actor. He played in that hotel. Yeah, Hotel Transylvania.
Rwanda?
No.
No, no.
Um, he's the fan favorite actor from that movie called Classic. Ah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, man. I hate when that happens. I'm like, which is it? But no, that's awesome, man. But interesting kind of hearing your influences and how they kind of got their way into creating this comic. How did you kind of come up with the main character Colton Crux? It's kind
So
of a unique character, you know.
so I had the story first, not even the story. I had the world first, and then I developed the story in it. And I needed a main character, and I started with the look. I really wanted a character with a widow peak for some reason. Well, I know the reason. So there's this movie with Jude Law called Repo Man,
Oh
also a
yeah.
bad movie, but I really like it. But it's a bad movie. It's not a good movie.
You like bad movies. I'm getting that sense.
Yeah, I like it, but it's not a good movie. So Jude Law has a really pronounced widow pick, and
Hmm.
he still looks really badass in that
Oh,
movie.
okay.
There's like this shot when he is taking out two blades and standing against a lot of people coming to hurt him, and he looks really badass with the widow pick. And I started with that image. It's just I needed something really visually catchy, and I think that in, flows, yeah, flows are more uh, not. I'm sorry, I forget the word.
Okay.
The
Like
flows are more not forgettable. The different word, antonym to forgettable.
you're talking about his hair, right?
Hmm?
You're talking about his hairstyle.
What I wanted to say, visual flows in
Oh,
how
okay.
people
Visual
look
flaws. Hmm.
are more rememberable. So it's better to create a
Mm,
character with interesting flows
I
that
see.
still
Yeah.
look cool. So yeah, so I started with the widow pick,
Oh,
and I go
that's
from there.
interesting. He also got a really large forehead because of that. What is he?
Yeah,
No,
so
that's
I
really
started from
interesting.
that, and I went in a whole different direction because Colton isn't a physical character at all. He's a mage,
Mm.
basically. He's an
Oh, okay.
exorcist and a magician.
And that's
So
kind of like why you're saying he has similarities to Constantine a little bit in that sense.
yes, yes,
He's not a super
yeah,
physical
and the movie
guy.
Constantine with Keanu Reeves, which is also considered a bad movie, but it's a great movie. It's a really good movie. It has very little to do with the comic, I was told, but it's a really good movie. It's also really stylish. I'm really into stylish, graphically rich movies, and
Mm.
that movie is really beautiful and designs are amazing. Did you see that movie?
No, I actually need. I was just gonna say I need to watch that one. I'm a huge Constantine fan, but surprisingly, I've never seen the Keanu Reeves version. So I actually need
Well,
to go back and
Constantine fans
watch
don't
it.
like it because they made Constantine a completely different character. It's not a
Right.
Constantine for comics books. He's a
Right. Which is why I think I was so hesitant. But if you're saying it's good, I ought to give it a
you
chance.
just disconnect yourself from the comic and you
Mm.
really enjoy that movie.
Enjoy it as its own thing. Really.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Real quick
it
in the
has
chat,
this
I just
really.
wanted to say, Six Scale Combat says just dropped in to say hi. Nashitobi, great job, man. If you ever want to collaborate, DM me.
Thank you.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean it's been cool. You've been building up a lot of hype and a lot of fan base for your project over the last year. Maybe we could talk a little bit about Hollow Owl Comics and kind of that you're working with a couple other creators. So can you tell us a little bit about that, maybe?
Well, so basically, my idea was I was working on a occult comic about demons, and I knew other creators with high quality work, high quality dream project who with the same team. So the idea was we can kind of like group together and help each other to promote. Because without a platform, without being a big YouTube creator, it's really hard to promote. So
Oh, definitely,
uh,
yeah, yeah, I
so
definitely get
I
that.
asked other, sorry.
No, sorry, go no, so go ahead.
So I asked other people to join me and kind of make like a group just of creators, and we call ourselves a Halavalo. But it didn't really work out so far.
Oh,
So
really? Is it still
yeah,
in the is it still in the planning phase? Are you guys gonna readdress it, or are you kind of going your separate ways? Do you think?
I don't think we are going to go our separate ways. Well, Alejandro already went his own way with Lone
Mm.
Harbor, so
Hmm.
there's only me, Corey,
Okay,
and
okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
understandable. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's understandable how those things can work out, but
it's good in it's good in a concept, but not that
yeah,
hard
the
to
practical part
execute
is a little bit, yeah.
because
Well,
people.
that's fine, man. It gives you more time to focus on your project, really, anyway, which is ultimately what you need to focus on. So that's good. Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear to get some updates because I hadn't heard of that. So
Yeah, no,
good to know that. Yeah.
me and Corey, and there's also a third creator called Joshua. He
Oh,
has
nice.
this project Hand Unseen.
Oh,
We
very
are still
nice.
planning to. So basically, this is not like a company. We're just a group of creators who help each other, and
Mm,
we talk. We have our own chat. We help each other with ideas. So we're still planning when we put out books to put the Hello logo on it, but
hmm.
there's no like no shared income, no
Okay.
nothing like that. This is not a
Any
company. It's just a group.
any plan to have a shared universe, or are you guys keeping
No,
your
no.
universes separate? Oh, really? So it's just mostly single stories. Okay.
Yeah,
So
my
really
world is
just
very heavy world building and
mm,
Karanaki world. The
okay.
other book, the
That's
Halawalo
kind of
book,
cool,
is
man.
more historical fiction, so it's just
It doesn't
totally
really
different.
match. Okay. So it's interesting. So it's how all comics is really almost like saying like you're getting quality in the supernatural genre. Like it might not be in a shared universe, but you're always going to get a really good story, really good
Yeah.
art, and so
And it's
it's kind of
very
that.
similar teams, uh,
Hmm.
occult detectives.
Very nice. Well, that's a really interesting concept, man. I really like that, and I do hope to
Yeah,
see more from you guys coming out with all
I'm
out because
we are struggling to make it work so far.
hey, man, I
So
wish you luck
thank
with
you.
it because I love the name. I love the name Hollow Owl Comics.
Yeah, me
It
too. And
really
Corey
sounds cool.
developed it. Yeah, and Corey
Really.
made a really cool logo.
Oh yeah, I
It's
love that logo. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
an amazing graphic designer. If I fund my project, then he is going to make a logo for Colton Crux and work on the cover.
Oh, that's excellent, man.
Yeah, he's professional comic book, not a comic book. He's a professional book cover designer.
Oh, that's perfect. Can't get better than that, man. All right. Well, I think I'd like to start taking a look at the Indiegogo if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So here we have up on the page, we have Colton Crux up. Currently, they're at $4,795 out of their $15,000 fixed goal. So that's 31%. With 17 days left, and I assume an option to extend if possible,
Yes.
if need
Yes.
be. So 103 backers, looking good so far, man. Looking good. Solid growth. So definitely on your way to that goal.
Yeah.
Very cool to
I
see.
had a lot of help from my followers and people on Twitter and other streamers like Redwall Kyer or Narwhal.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they really
I
helped.
remember Narwhal had his campaign a while back.
Yeah, and
Did
Tonpa. I
very
know
well.
Tonpa. He promotes a lot of indie comics, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he helps a lot. He's like my second referral after me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that man does a lot for indie comics. More people should
That's
be grateful to him.
awesome. So we've talked a little bit about the story, and we've talked a little about the character. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the world.
Okay, so it's set in a like a alternative universe world. It's a very different world. It's more supernaturally active world than ours. Uh, so there's always was this. The so so there's this like a ghost dimension, and the wall between that world and ghost dimension is really thin. So there's a lot of supernatural activity, and it and because of it, there's a lot of occult activity in the world because people like feel that magic coming to their world. So there's a lot of religion and a lot of cults.
Yeah,
So sorry, I'm struggling a bit.
that's okay.
So it's set like in 1930s, 1940s era, like after Second World
Oh,
War era.
oh, interesting. Oh, I
It
didn't know
has
that.
yeah, it
That's awesome.
has well, you can see it has that old New Year look to it. It has the diesel punk look to it,
Mm.
but it's not our world. It's a different world. So I will be adding more weird stuff, weird designs, weird architecture too. So it's not in
Mm-hmm.
this. So the events of my story is are set in this like a last city in America, and it's very filled with a lot of religion, a lot of religion architecture. So I wrote this like a sentence. That's my design idea. Old, old architecture and neon lights. So it's
Interesting.
like a old European architecture and modern elements like
Like
lights,
modern
labels.
technology.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Sorry, I
That's
have a bit
fun.
of trouble explaining it.
No, it's okay. It's really a unique concept. I could see why you kind of have to take your time with it.
Um,
It's something I've never really seen for. Well, I've seen it a few times. Like the one that comes to mind for me is I don't know if you probably never. Well, you may have seen it, but the anime Naruto. It's like in ancient Japan, but then they have random technology like they'll have like electricity and so like that's a really fun kind of combination of stuff. I like that you've thrown it in there.
I guess it's done a lot of in animes. I can
Mm.
remember any specific anime, but I know they like to mix a lot of old
Oh, that's
designs with
interesting.
new technologies. So something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. So, I'm just showing off some of the art here at the top for people to see. And, the one thing, a couple of things that come to mind is just how detailed the art is. Like you clearly put a lot of effort into the details. Like looking at Colton's office here, I just love the little details, like little knickknacks on his shelf over here, or
and
things all over here.
most of
There's
that,
so much to explore.
yeah, and most of that is just fake for show,
Well, it
basically
looks
from
awesome, man.
clients.
Oh,
To appear
really?
like,
Oh, it's fake for the clients.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's another room, like a secret room, when he keeps the real stuff, and all of that is just.
That's probably pretty smart. You can't trust your clients, man.
Yeah. And
Oh,
also, sorry, I say also a lot. So in this world, there's like a one predominant church. So there's a lot of different churches, a lot of different religions, and there's a constant struggle between religion. And one predominant church, kind of like it's not ruling this city because there was a separation between church and state, and now it's more like a, a politician rule. But the church still have a lot of influence, and this church, it's still like polices all religion and occult activities. So Colton can't have any real stuff on the open because inquisitors might come by and he might get in trouble. So basically, it's fake. He pretends like it's all for the show.
that's awesome. So in Colton's world, it's kind of like you might say religion. These religious groups kind of dominate the landscape of how government is. Are they essentially the governments?
Uh, yeah, like I said, it's they were a government. They have the government. They have a lot of control over the country and now the city, the city that's remain. But they lost the control. It's like
Mm.
a recent development. They lost the control, so but they still have a lot of influence. Sorry,
Oh, interesting.
this is so the story is really complicated, but I'm trying my best to put it in a comic in the simplest way possible. So I introduce concept one by one slowly, and I
Nice.
think it's hard for me to explain it.
All at
The
once like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in the comic book, it's gonna be all pretty simple. At
Okay,
least I
nice,
hope. I'm
nice.
doing my best to make it really simple.
Yeah, I know you work really hard on a lot of stuff like layout and just kind of your composition to make sure that things are clear and readable. I
Yeah.
remember seeing a tweet you put out a while back about just like studying the flow of your panels. I mean, like this doesn't work, this works. So I know you put a lot of work into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
very into layouts. Think more creators should pay attention to this page structure and what panels are essential and what not. I took it from those rules of writing when everything should be like simplified. No, So basically, the sentence should be a story, then the paragraph should be a story, just bigger story made from smaller stories, and the page should be a story. And then, so
Yeah,
there should be like a clear structure to everything. So I really work hard to make each page like a separate small
man,
story.
that's so smart. Honestly, it is like that's I know a lot of pros do it, approach it from that angle, and that's a really smart way to do it.
I don't like it when some creators just dialogues just run off and there's like 3 pages of just headshots.
Right.
So basically, if you look at the page 3, that's the whole dialogue in one page. So I introduced some concept. I introduced the conflict, and I explain what's the problem. So basically, that's in that second page, the main problem of the whole story is introduced.
Interesting, man. That's really wild. Yeah, I
So the
think
main
that'll help with that payoff of each page.
and it's easier to promote because each page is like a self-sufficient, I don't know how to say it, self-contained thing. So if you put one page, people can enjoy it without other pages.
Without the context of needing those other pages. Yeah. No, that's pretty awesome, man. Now, why don't we start taking a look at some of the perks that you have on offer?
Okay.
The first one we have is both versions. So why don't you tell us maybe a little bit about what this perk's about?
So basically, I'm black and white is my strength. I'm better at black and white than in color, but I know that black and white wouldn't be as popular comic, wouldn't be as popular as colorful color comic. So I need to make a colored version, but the black and white, I decided to offer black and white as well. So
Yeah,
there's
I go with
two,
that horror aesthetic, huh?
yeah, for that New Year aesthetic, for the horror
Right, the
aesthetic.
noir, yeah, totally. And
So
that's really interesting. Yeah, he definitely fits into that noir kind of detective category, like you were saying earlier.
there's going to
It's
be
awesome.
two versions of the comic, black and white and colored version, and that's all the perks I'm offering. So you can either order in color or in black and white, or order both of them. And the black and white version also has concept art and world building bits.
The black and white one does, you said?
Yes, yes.
And then the color one does not have that?
Yeah, it doesn't have that.
Oh, okay. So if you want the extras, you really go with the black, either get the black and white or the both versions.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, very nice. Now, I wanted to ask you, is the coloring that we see here, is this kind of the style that we can expect from the coloring in the comic, or what did you have in mind for that?
So yeah, that's my coloring. I didn't. I've yet to color a lot of pages. I just color one page, and I did some color tests, and I decided I rather do all in black and white first, and then color it in like in bunches. I don't know, because coloring is like a whole different thing from drawing, and it's better to do all in groups.
So, excuse me. So you said you had done one colored page already?
Yeah, the third page. This, if you scroll down, you can see the.
Okay, so we'll be seeing it pretty soon. Oh, excellent. Cool, cool, cool. Well, that's as long as you have an example, I think that's a great way to do it personally. And if the workflow does it better that way, then that's fine. But yeah, definitely, I wanted to make sure that we had an example for people to see here. So that's definitely good. I actually love your coloring, so I think you're a little hard on yourself, but
Well, I just need more
but
practice, and I think it's better if I color a couple of pages, like 10 pages at
yeah,
once,
yeah,
so it has a consistent style, and I can
right, okay.
experiment with the different things, different environments, because some of the scenes are set outside, some are inside, and it has to like work together. And it's not a good idea to color just one page separately.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Now in this next one we have this one is just the color book.
Mhm.
the $25, and what is the estimated shipping on that one? Does it you have to put it in probably?
Yeah.
But are you doing international on this one, or is it just
Yes.
domestic?
Yeah. So I'm working with a project manager
Oh,
because
nice.
I'm Ukrainian. I live in Ukraine and I can't use Indiegogo.
Oh,
So
okay.
so I'm working with Matt Crux. He's a
Very
creator
nice.
of this comic Curie. He already fulfilled his first book. He recently funded and soon going to print his second book, Curie. And he's like a proven creator with a lot of experience. He fulfilled his own comic himself. Uh, so I'm working with him. He agreed to help me. He will be like a project manager. He will keep on the finances, and later he will take care of printing and fulfillment.
Very nice, man. That's awesome
So
partnership
yeah,
right
so
there.
the date is a year from now.
Nice. So what month is the expected estimated time?
So it's a year from now, from
Oh,
the
so
launch of the project. Yeah,
okay. So May or April then, I guess.
yeah,
Okay, very nice, very nice. Nice, man. No, that's awesome. I have people something to look forward to for people there.
yeah,
And on the next one, we have the extra noir. That's the black and white version.
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
see some of the nice pages here on the left. I love this. I love this scene here. Now, is this like a bar? I guess.
No, it's not about it. It's like a brothel.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should have.
If you pay
Okay,
attention, those girls resting on the steps.
Good point. Yeah,
So that's what I
that
was
was a
talking
good
about.
clue.
If
Yeah.
you see the, so that's
Sorry,
what
what were
I
you
was.
saying?
Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
So that's what I was talking about the world building and the style of the book. So if you see this church, it's like an old building. It was once a church, some church. It's not like a. So there's a lot of different religions, and they come and go. Uh, and this was like some church, and then it was abandoned, and now it's a brothel. So it's like an old
Oh
building, but it has a new
my
neon light on it.
god. That's too funny, man. I gotta admit that's a bit of a unexpected combination there. Wouldn't see that one coming at all. The brothel
Yeah,
inside the church, old church.
and yeah. And the
That's
point of
funny.
this panel is Colton's office is like at the back of this church. If you pay attention.
Oh my god, he's kind of a bit of a seedy guy, isn't he?
Yeah, so that's the whole point of this panel to establish him like this city character because he's an exorcist for hire, which is he no officially that's he's scamming people, but he's a real expert. He really knows what he's doing.
Oh my god, dude, it's funny. I didn't realize how much of a jerk he was, or like kind of an anti-hero. Really, he's
No, not really. I mean, he's really know what he's doing. I mean, he's just officially like scamming people. He doesn't
he's
scam.
not even an anti-hero. He's just anti. He's just not a hero at all. No, that's really interesting kind of take. I love to see that kind of a character because I mean, not that there's anything wrong with heroic characters or anything, but they so predominantly they dominate the landscape, and so it's nice. It's a little refreshing to see a bit of a different take on the. It's that hard boiled. It's a kind of that throwback to that hard boiled noir kind of detective who's maybe a little bit more rough around the edges.
Yeah,
And
like all New York characters, he had like he had like a goal in his life. He had some values, but then the life like threw him around a bit, and he got disappointed and failed. And now he is like this noir character. No, like
very
every noir
disillusioned,
character. Hmm?
very
Sorry.
disillusioned with the world, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so basically, in this world, if you are possessed by a demon, you won't survive the exorcism. You're either gonna lose your mind or your life. And Colton, for most of his life, was trying to find a way to save people, but he failed. And now there's a lot of deaths on his conscience. A lot of people that he was hoping to save, but he couldn't. So that's haunting him, and he abandoned his goal because he thinks it's impossible.
Wow. So
And
he's wow.
And in this story, there's like a new opportunity for him to maybe finally find that solution that he was seeking.
Maybe get a little redemption along the way.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you're kind of going back to a lot of those classic storytelling ideas and trying to really kind of do a lot of character development with Colton. Now on to the next one we have here is the 2 copies of the book. Now this is 2 copies of the color book. Is that right?
Yeah, because I know that a lot of people like to buy one and keep other pristine, so I added a tier for those people if they want to, like, if they want to get 2 books for shipping price of one.
Yeah, that's really smart. I know a lot of people love to do that. Like you said, one to read, one to collect, kind of keep nice. Another
Oh,
thing I know people like to do is give them away. You know, I'll buy 2 and I'll give one to my friend, or something like that, or you know what I mean. So there's a lot you can do with that, really.
yeah. I had one buy on it, but I had to change the perk, so I make that one invisible, and right now it's like 0. But someone bought it. Someone bought 2 books.
Oh, nice, nice. It's just the recount. I guess the count got reset.
Mhm. Yeah, if you hide the perk and create a copy, then it's gonna say 0. I don't remember. I have so I didn't set a separate price for Canada, and it was counted as worldwide shipping, and the shipping worldwide is costly.
Okay.
So I had to like hide all the perks and create copies.
Oh, okay. To fix that error, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay, no worries. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm sure that the people in Canada would appreciate that.
yeah. I had one buy, and I tried to reach out to the person who bought it for a higher price, but they didn't respond. So either I will, either I
Maybe you could
find a
throw
way
him
to,
maybe you could
yeah,
throw a
or
special gift in for him or something. You know.
yeah, I do something extra if I can
Yeah,
reach out
maybe
to
an
them.
extra
Then I do
copy or
something extra.
something. Yeah. But yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome, and I do like to see that you're doing the international. At least it gives people the chance to who are not in the in the United States to be able to get the book, which is
Yes,
nice.
but it's very costly
Oh
because
yeah.
it's like a real price of the shipping.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, and it's understandable. You know, you can't really eat that price. It's just too expensive. International shipping is it's tough these days.
And I'm really sorry for the people in Australia because Australia shipping is also set like a real cost of shipping, and it's $35 if you look at
Oh
the
God.
USPS prices.
Ay, ay,
Yeah, so it's basically like a detergent, so people know not to
ay.
ask me if why it's not available in Australia. You know, if I didn't set that price, but someone did bought it from Australia. I was really surprised.
Oh, that's funny. And then we have here our final perk, which is 5 copies of the book. This is what you might call a comic book store perk or something like that, maybe.
So basically, I know that a lot of people from overseas like to pull on bigger campaigns, so I thought I add that perk as well for people who maybe like get other peoples to join in and get 5 books for shipping price of one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I could see that. Yeah, I could totally see that. And nice. And it already looks like one person claimed that, so that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that
And
one
I noticed.
person, I'm not gonna tell where are they from, but they kind of went to town and ordered all the perks.
Oh wow, that's
So
awesome,
I'm
man.
really grateful to
We
them
got
and
a
hope
Colton
they
Crux super fan over here.
I hope they don't
Oh, that's
refund
funny,
because
right?
they take away half of our funds.
Oh man. But so I noticed. So you really just kind of keeping it bare bones with the books here. Was there any thought process, or can you maybe explain your thought process behind wanting to kind of keep it focused on the books only?
So, so I have these thoughts that campaign is like a reflection of creators' values, and I really personally don't put any values on other things that content. I don't have anything against people who like those things or creators who offer them, but I just like content. So all I'm offering is content. If I hit my goal and we hit stretch goals, it's going to be more content. I
Oh,
will
good. Yeah.
mention other artists to draw short stories set in the same world, exploring it like lore and lore history. So it's going to be like more stories just drawn by other very talented people.
That's awesome, man. I was actually going to ask about your, your what you're kind of do with the stretch goals, and so it's exciting to hear the short stories, man. Do you have any artists in mind yet who you'd like to work with or anything like that?
Yeah, I have a list of artists. I was actually so so like you said, I prepared for this campaign. I was working on this project for a while. I befriended a lot of creative artists, and yeah, I have a couple in mind. Very, very talented people whose style fits this book. It's like very Mignola inspired styles, and it's hard to explain. But basically, I all the styles will fit this theme in this book.
Now, I remember reading somewhere that you were kind of also inspired by Inception a little bit. Is that right? Did I read
Yeah,
that correctly?
there's an element to the story that so there's like this dream world, this ghost world that I was talking about, and it's spoilers, but it plays a big role in this story.
Right. We don't want to get too much into spoiler territory,
I can
obviously.
get into spoilers. So basically,
No, 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 no. You only reveal what you're comfortable with. I don't want you to reveal
I
if you're not
I really
comfortable.
don't care about spoilers.
Okay, fair
And I'm
enough.
sure people will forget about all of this uh, before the book will be out. So basically, there's this dream world, and you can enter it with your astral form, and it's like a similar to Inception. It's inspired by Inception. Now they were entering the dreams of people, and there were like a whole different world inside it. So basically, it's something like similar, but this world, this dream world, is populated by demons, creations of people's fears, and also like we all connected to this world. Our souls all are connected to this world. So if you really want to, there's like a whole thing about the story that people. Sorry, struggling a bit.
No, no, you're doing
So,
fine, man.
so basically, to solve some problems, Colton, we have to enter this world, this dream world. And in this dream world, there's a lot of demons, and there's a lot of things you can do with your astral form. There's a hard magic system that's called dream weaving. That allows you to use your astral form to create objects to interact in this world. It's
Dude,
probably
that's
too
awesome.
complicated, but again,
No, that's awesome, dude. I love it. I love it. It's again, it's kind of like just something feels so classic about the story and the world, and it just feels really cool. So I do
okay.
love to hear that.
So this exorcism usually just shown by like external actions.
Mm.
So there's a demon in a victim, and the priest tries to get him out, and demon talks through this victim. And that's kind of how it happens in this world. But that's the problem. That's why they can't actually save anyone, because demons they like put their clothes into you. They like. Weave their essence around your soul. And if you just rip the demon out, you're going to damage the
The
soul of
soul.
this. Yes.
Mm.
So to perform an actual exorcism, you have to go in. You have to go into this dream world, and you have to separate this demon from the soul of this person if you want to save her.
Wow,
So
it's really interesting. It's kind of a different take on it.
yeah, I wanted
I
to
like it.
do more visual, more interesting way, make every
Mm.
exorcism like a puzzle.
That's really smart, honestly, and I love that because I think you're right. I think sometimes the exorcisms themselves can be a little bit boring because they tend to be the same things, like, oh, throw some holy water on them, say some things from a book, maybe have a cross. It gets kind of repetitive after a while. So it'll be nice to kind of be able to keep things fresh with when those things do happen.
Yeah, and
People
I
on their
want,
toes.
yeah, I want to make every exorcism like a different puzzle. Like why this happened to this person, why this demon, what this demon was born from, and to solve this problem. And if you solve this problem, you save this person.
Yeah, and that kind of goes along with him being a very intellectual type of character.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. Now, scrolling down a little bit, this is one of the very iconic images I think that we've seen so far. One of the most iconic images. What's going on here? Are these demons, or is he haunted by ghosts of the past? Can you maybe tease a little bit about this?
So basically, these are the souls of all the people he was trying to save, but he couldn't. They haunt him, and this, you can take this literally, or you can take this figuratively. This isn't something that I say one way or another. So basically, he's just haunted.
You
can.
Jeez. You do this really interesting thing with your composition. I just love the way that there's all these kind of massive bodies and faces, and just it looks so creepy.
Yeah, I really like body horror.
And yeah. Have you been doing that kind of art for a long time, and that's why you wanted to do this, or did you kind of change to kind of adapt to doing this story?
Hard to answer. I guess it's something that came with this story. I always like a Silent Hill and games like that. I forget the name of the other game, but so there's this game. It's also about going into subconscious with the demons in it. I forget what his name. Devil Within. You know the game I'm talking about?
No, I'm not sure. It was a horror game.
Yeah, it's a horror game. There's 2 installments already. It's, I forget what it's called, Demons Within or something within, and it's very, very graphically interesting, and it's also about going inside of subconscious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I take a lot of inspiration from that game as well.
Casper S in the chat. Casper Nash asks, "Is it the Evil Within?"
Yeah, Evil Within. Yeah.
Thank you, Casper. Yes. Okay. Actually, I have heard of those. You're right. There is 2 installments. That's right. Those are good, huh? You enjoyed those?
I didn't play them. I have a gaming addiction, so I can't play games because I just think about them and I can't do anything else. So
oh my god!
a couple of years now, I just
oh my god!
add games to the list that I'm going to play one day when I have the time. Because if I play a game, I won't draw anything or make anything.
Oh, dude! Oh my god! I get that, dude. I'm the same way with my writing. It's tough. It really is. You got to be disciplined.
I just watch replays, let's plays. Just watch and research the graphic design, concept art from game. No.
Oh yeah,
I find a game that I like, I watch let's play, and then I study the development process, the concept art if it's online.
Yeah, you're kind of really big on the development process of that. Yeah.
I'm very into designs. I like to character design. I like to design worlds. I like to world build. So I like to study those things a lot.
And you kind of come from a web design background, isn't that right?
Not really. It's just something that I did to not work physically. So I live in a very small town in Ukraine. There's not a lot of work, and all work is very low paying. So I got tired working on construction site, and I started to work on graphic designs. And yeah, that's what I mainly make my living on.
Yeah, see, I think that's awesome, man. It's a nice to be able to shift. I think probably from doing such a physical job to doing something a little bit less physical. I would imagine over time it's probably a lot easier on you. So
Yeah, and
Oh man.
I think it helped me a lot with layouts.
Oh really?
There's a
Doing
lot of
the design.
layout. Yeah, there's a lot of layouting in web design, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy like a structuring. I really enjoy like making everything minimalistic.
Now, in the chat, Neostar Production says, "I'm a bit on the squeamish side. I can only handle so much body horror. Although this comic does seem interesting. It's been a while since I've indulged in a psychological thriller." So,
So
yeah,
I
can you
just
tell us about that?
read this. So this book isn't really horror. I was calling it horror at first, but it's really hard to scare people these days. So this is more like a horror themed fantasy. There's way more going to be put accents on like magic systems and stories. It's not that horror book. And also, I don't really enjoy making anything too like too graphical or too. All right, so the comic creator uh, who created. Sorry, I have brain fart. Uh, the guy who created Kingsman,
Oh, the movie Kingsman.
the comic Kingsman,
Oh, I'm not
right?
sure.
Miller. Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Frank Miller. You mean
no, not
or
Frank Miller. Mark Miller. Mark
Mark Miller? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Miller. So yeah, I really like his concept. I think he has really strong concept. I really enjoy movies made based on his comics. But I try to read his comics, and I find him a bit too like a shock value. A lot of elements of his is a bit too shock value. No, and I don't like that. I want everything to have a purpose in my comic. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's not anything that problematic in this comic if you squeamish or if you think that's maybe too adult stuff or
No, that's awesome. So kind of is a little
more
not
like a
quite that intense, maybe.
more horror theme. So basically, take a look at this exorcism scene, and if you find this troubling, then yeah, then you're probably gonna have a problem with the whole book. But it's more of a design focus. It's more like a I try to make everything beautiful.
Right, I was gonna say I love the design here. You see, like they're like vines almost. Is that right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
the vines and the butterflies, and it looks visually really spectacular.
it's like a demon visually inspired by nature, by thorny vines, and he's like a blooming with white flowers that are turning into white butterflies. So
Wow.
that's what the idea behind this demon visually.
And we see. I love the kind of way you have the shadow of the. It looks like a young boy kind of opening the door in the doorway there. It's I love the use of heavy shading or inking, and it just looks really cool that way.
It helps me to cover up a lot of my shortcomings.
Really, oh, that's funny. Do you do this all digitally?
Yeah, this is all digital. I don't think I can even draw traditionally because I learned
Really?
digitally. Yeah, I
Oh
learned
wow.
digitally in really old age. Like I think I was 21 when I started to draw digitally. And first I was more like I paint more. Like I was more digitally painter, and I did a
Mm.
lot of. So I mostly painted digitally, and I did a lot of vector work. And vector work is vector graphic, and vector
Oh
graphic
yeah.
like flows more because the lines are um, very precise and sorry, very. I
Precise, maybe.
precise and sorry, I can't find.
Well, I love about vector. I mean, it's pretty smart to do it vector wise because it's my understanding you can resize vector art and it
Yeah,
maintains the
no,
same.
this isn't vector. What I wanted to say, so I started like
Oh, okay.
I draw like more. I painted more, and I did a lot of vector work. And
Hmm.
this is basically like a combination of best things from those two
Oh,
different like,
interesting.
styles. So I do a lot of like a flowing lines, similar to like a vector, more clear designs. My shadows like very simplistic. I like do 1, 2, 3. So there's a basic color, there's a shadow color, and then like a highlights color.
Wow.
It's basically the same thing I was doing with vector. So
Oh, okay. So that's the connection. I see. Yeah.
and I don't draw line work. I paint line work. I started with like heavy blobs of black, and then I paint in white
Wow.
parts.
Man, that's wild. Yeah, man. I didn't. When you said you really into design, I had no idea. It just kind of tips, kind of. Was it? What is the ice? Tips the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, that's the phrase I'm looking for. Yeah, it really kind of shows in your work the passion you put into the design. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would necessarily consider that when putting that in. This is one of my
Spend a lot of
favorite
time,
images.
moving things around and figuring out how it's balanced or not.
Really, yeah. Wow. Now, yeah, I love this. This is so cool. Can you tell us a little bit about this? I know it seems like a promotional piece, maybe, but maybe yeah, just talk a little about this one here.
So the result of this is promotional piece, but when I was drawing it, I was using it as a concept art to figure out a couple of designs for ancient demons. So in this in this world, there's different kinds of demons, and the lowest, the most weakest of demons are called ancient demons. They are born from like primeval fears and of people, uh, and they are visually inspired by nature. So if you see on the left side, all the designs are inspired by more like animalistic, more like flashy things. And on the right side, the creatures are more inspired by like plants and mushrooms and things like that.
Oh
And
wow.
so I was just trying to like design a couple of ideas for different demons I'm going to use in the later part of the book. And I was kind of, and the whole idea of this piece is like a gate that Colton comes through into the spirit world. And if you see on top, the left side is like a skull,
Mm-hmm.
and the right side is like tree trunk and a branch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see
There's
that.
like
Yeah.
two visual sides of ancient demons.
Wow. Yeah, it's I love just your visual, man. It's incredible. Like you're the just the amount of varied faces on the demons. Like they all look so creepy and so unique. And yeah, I don't know. It's so cool to see that. I personally like it to see when there's a little bit more variety in the creatures. You know,
Mhm.
like a lot of times you'll see comics and you'll get a bunch of generic creatures that all kind of look the same.
Yeah, and I'm
Uh,
really into design, so I want to populate my book with a lot of different designs. So all of these creatures I will try to put into the book in the part when Colton goes into Ghost World. I need a lot of different demons, so I'm going to use these designs.
well, that's awesome. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to see some of these crop back up again. I wanted to
Definitely. Sorry.
start. Go ahead. Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted to say, so there's definitely going to be the mushroom demon if you see it on the right side.
Is that the middle one? Is the mushroom demon that like middle on the right there?
Second from the bottom on the right.
Second from the bottom. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. That's funny. So he's a fungus demon in
Yeah,
a sense.
there's this. I don't know if you have them. There's these mushrooms here that grow on the trees. They're like very big and very like uh, woody. They aren't like soft at all. So
Oh,
it's inspired by those mushrooms.
that's wild.
You know those mushrooms? They're basically like steps growing out of the tree that you can climb.
Oh my god.
You don't have them?
No, I've never seen them. Maybe not, at least not where I live in my part of the country. But yeah, that's really interesting. Maybe someone in the chat could let us know if they have them in a more woody or area like that. Maybe. But that's wild.
Yeah, we
One.
as the kids we were using them as like seats. We were just sitting on those mushrooms.
Oh, that's hilarious. That sounds fun. Now, I wanted to ask you a question about the gun here because it actually just caught my eye while we were just talking about it now, which is his gun kind of almost has this like old rotary phone look to it.
All right,
What's
so
going on with this?
let me. So I was working on this concept art piece. I wanted to, if you can share my screen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
For some reason I can.
I'll pull up. I'll just
Okay.
put it back up for now. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to see this
Okay.
finally
So
come together, man.
okay.
All right.
So Colton has this gun designed for him, but by one of his occult like friends. Well, they aren't really friends. He has like an inner circle of occult
Mhm.
people, each of them with their own specialization. You probably saw the concept art somewhere on the top, and
Yeah, I
there's
believe
one
we
of them.
saw them. Yeah.
One of them is occult engineer. He creates impossible devices by using magic, combining it with science. And he created this gun for Colton. It's a tranquilizer gun because, possessed people are really violent, and some a lot of times Colton needs to what is it called to neutralize them. So he has this gun, and the gun has a lot of options, and I added this rotary wheel to like change between the modes. So there's like 6 modes. So 0 is basically nothing. 1 is, well, actually, I have a hard time remembering what I was assigning to each of the options. But
Zero is not a good one. That sounds like.
it's basically like a neutral safety. And so
Oh, I see. I see. So okay, yeah,
it's a
like having a
tranquilizer
safety
gun.
on.
There's an ampoule with tranquilizer. There's a can with compressed air. It can be used to inject from close distance. It can be used to shoot tranquilizer laced darts into people, and it can be used to create tranquilizing gas.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That is quite
I'm
the
very into
unique
design,
little
so
handy
yeah,
device there, man.
I'm very into design. So there's a lot of like small things uh, Colton uses that have a lot of different reveals.
Nice, nice. Well, that's cool. So, how many numbers total? Because obviously, you probably have. I'm assuming you're saving some of the features for those reveals, right?
Sorry.
Like for the weapon here, are there secret hidden features that you're kind of keeping under wraps for now, maybe that you kind of want to reveal later down the line?
Well, I basically just described all of them.
Oh, okay. So, okay, cool, cool. 'Cause I wasn't sure if there was like any kind of hidden modes or something, you know.
Well, those people who are listening to this, it's going to be introduced slowly. So basically, at first, it's going to be like introduced just like an injector from close distance,
Oh, okay,
and
okay,
then
yeah,
he's
yeah,
going
yeah.
to shoot someone, and then he's going to use like a gas. You know,
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I like designs that
Uh,
have that have couple of reveals. So this gun have a couple of reveals that I can like space out through this book and maybe the next one.
well, it's
You know,
also kind of nice because you get to see that progression of the character development with his, not just the character itself, but also his equipment and his gear as well. So it's kind of cool to see that people will have something to grow and see him grow with as the series goes on. Now, getting back to, we're getting close to the end of our time here, so we'll definitely start wrapping up soon. But I want to share a little bit more of the art from the Indiegogo. So here's another little bit of art we have. Oops, it's going all crazy there. So in this piece of art, is it flashing for you? No, it's not. Okay, sorry. So it's flashing on my screen, so I wasn't sure if it was
So it's
flashing
flashing
for
on
the
the screen
audience.
as well.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for some
Huh.
reason.
Let me try this one more time. I do apologize for that. There we go. Third time's a charm. So so yeah, so here's some more of the just some concept art and some different pieces here. We kind of see some more coloring. I kind of like the gold. You kind of did these really interesting pieces where the gold was the only color in it.
So
I love
basically,
those.
gold plays a big role in the story as well because we use
Oh,
the idea of cursed gold. You know, there's
okay.
this idea of cursed gold that
Hmm.
constantly in fiction. And in this world, I'm basically saying that gold can be easily like charged by supernatural power. So that's why it's a cursed gold because
Mm.
charge the really charged with supernatural power. So a lot of magical things in this world have golden elements to them.
Nice. So that's why they particularly value using these gold tools is because they have that property of being more powerful and more magical, be able to contain that. That's
So yeah,
wild, man.
continue. I kind of like
I love he's
so.
rocking the golden tie clip, man. That's kind of badass.
What did you say? Sorry.
Oh, I love how he's rocking that golden tie clip, man. That's
Yeah,
pretty badass right there.
it has a purpose to it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's visually. I think it's visually obvious. What's the purpose to it?
Oh, really? Oh, shoot. Maybe I'm missing it. Uh, can you tell us? Is it a secret
Well,
or?
it's shaped like an eye, and there's a red
Mm,
stone in the middle of it. So basically, it allows him to look and see hidden things, see
nice.
supernatural that
Oh, that's
can't be seen.
cool.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
a
actually, yeah, like now that you mentioned, it is kind of like you said, it's kind of obvious. Like it's the eye, like it's his that the all-seeing kind of third eye, like allows him to see beyond the veil into what's actually happening.
yeah. When it
That's
also
very
sees
clever.
back something, but he doesn't see anything with his vision. He just takes off his clip and puts it to his eyes and looks through the stone,
Nice.
and it reveals to him.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, what can
And
you tease us maybe about? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
just wanted to say, and the cross, the ankh he is carrying, he's squeezing in his hand. So basically, the religion, this world, the main religion is like a mix of a Christian religion and ancient Egypt aesthetic. It's uh, it's not really our real world religion, but it's inspired by it. And there's a lot of ancient Egypt aesthetic mixed in. So it's called a praying dagger. So in this religion, when they pray, they squeeze in the blade of the dagger to spill blood. It's basically like, well, if you want your praise to be heard, you need to spill a little blood.
Hey,
And
man.
there's like an explanation, real explanation why it's done, but it's been forgotten. So a lot of the daggers in the current time are bland, and people when they praying, they aren't really like spilling any blood, but he does. He knows that it's important. So it's a magical instrument as well.
Now, does Colton actually is he part of any cult or religion, or is he kind of just doing his own thing?
Well, uh, so this main religion, it's well, as I said, this world is very like a supernatural active, and
Hmm.
this main religion is in each cult, in each religion, there's magicians, different magicians, because basically there's a lot of magicians in this world, and yeah, he was following the main religion, and he uses some of that magic. Sorry, I'm having a hard time explaining it.
So he uses their magic, but he doesn't necessarily isn't necessarily associated with the group. Is that right?
Well, it's like a main religion, so most people associated with it. It's like a
Mm.
Catholicism in our world, but in that world, it's this one church religion. It's main religion, and he is like a system kid. He grew up in a system. He was raised by a church. He was had a supernatural, like a magical talents, and he was made into an exorcist. And there's so it's really complicated what goes in the story, and it's when I'm explaining it, it's going to sound overcomplicated, but I'm going to introduce it so slowly that it's going to make sense. So basically, there was this war, and because of this war and the use of magic, this world is falling apart. That's why this is the last city standing. And there's also London, but London is like it's called losing divine light,
Hmm. Doesn't
and
sound good.
it's going to blink out, and this city is going to be the last one. I'm sorry.
Wow,
This
the last one in the whole world.
yes,
Jeez. So in Colton's time is not. It's not a good time to be alive, really.
yes. It's very post-apocalyptic. It's very post-apocalyptic. It's very inspired by
Hmm.
animes like um, uh, Exo,
Uh,
Ergo. I forgot it. There's this anime that is called classic. I forgot it.
it's a post-apocalyptic anime.
Ergo Proxy.
Was
Did
it?
you see Ergo Proxy? Did you saw Ergo Proxy?
Oh no, I've heard a lot about it though. Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good stuff about that one.
So it's like an Ergo Proxy or this movie. If I don't know if you see it called Dark City. It's very focused
Hmm.
on just one town, and there's like a mystery. There's something happened to the rest of the world. There's like a mystery why it's just this one town. It's very totalitarian. Uh,
Hmm.
so
That's really interesting, man. Yeah, I kind of love the world building. Like you said, there's a lot to it, but it definitely seems like it'll be really rewarding to kind of play that out over the issues of the series as it goes on, because there's so much that you put into it to kind of explore and to discover. It's
War
not,
built it
yeah.
for 3 years, so it's kind of very complicated. But I introducing it very slowly through very like a precise. I don't know how to say it.
No, that's awesome, man. That's great. And we see here some more demons now. One on the demon in the four. Do you see the four images here? The one on the top left. I know that's a real popular one. That
Yeah,
came.
for
Actually,
some reason,
I have a shirt of that one.
yeah, thank you for buying it. I
Oh, definitely,
remember.
man. I love that shirt. Yeah, I think that design is. I know that's a big. That's one of the most popular designs that I've seen a lot of people really enjoying that one.
Yeah, so
Uh,
my style really evolved since I drew this picture,
really? Oh
and I have
wow.
it doesn't look good to me anymore. But
Oh no.
for some reason, when I'm trying to like make something go viral, I just put this picture, and it really catches people's eyes. I guess it has something to do with just it's it's very like a bold visual, like a hunted person, and a lot of people really like it.
Right, and I think I love the you got the shadow kind of his dark shadows on the front of him, and then the shadow on the ground, and it kind of coming out of the shadow, and yeah, like you said, it's very visually bold and appealing.
Yeah.
And then of course just the creepy faces just look so creepy. Oh man, yeah, it's interesting. You can I don't know, maybe it's because you do digital or maybe just because you've been doing it for so long, but your detail is so fine. You have this really quite fine detail, which is cool.
Well, because I paint my line work, my inks, if you can call those inks. I paint them. I can, if don't like something or I need something to redo or add more details, I just kind of put more white over it and go in and add more details. It's
Wow.
easier than if I drew like a line work.
That's
So
really, really interesting.
this
That's
allows me
really
to
cool,
really,
man.
yeah. So
No,
this
we're gonna
allows me
start.
to really
Yeah.
add a lot of details.
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone personally that I've talked to, at least, who does it that way. So it's really
Well, it's
fascinating.
not a good way to draw. It's probably would be better if I just draw line work because my lines would be more bold and clear. But that's the way I more comfortable. And my tablet is old and kind of wonky, and it's really hard to draw a straight line. And so I basically just adapted and I started to paint. So people
Yeah,
say,
well,
"Oh, like your line work is very." Some people say your line work is very good, and it's not a line work. I basically just draw a fat blob of black ink, and I just with white or eraser, I kind of like chisel out the character or the lines out of it.
it's like reverse line work in a way, almost. That's really cool. That's amazing, and it's just amazing that you can do that kind of method, and then it comes out looking like that, which is amazing because it looks so cool, and like I wouldn't have no clue that you did it that way, honestly.
Well, I drew line work too these days more, but yeah, the main I like painting.
So you do a little bit of a combination of both sometimes.
Yes.
Ah, okay, that's pretty clever. Yeah.
Well, line work allows you to better build like a structure to the drawing, so it looks like less wonky. Because when you paint, it's a bit hard to like make a good structure.
Now, are these some of the compatriots of Colton's whom you mentioned earlier?
It's his inner circle. They all like have some specialization.
And all decked out in gold again, of course.
Yeah. Some of it is just gold, and some of it are devices or magic items.
In the chat, Casper Brunesh says straight lines are a pain. He feels your pain. Oh man! Now again, we see at the top row, we see some more of your just amazing, creature designs, if that's what you can call them.
And none of those creatures necessarily are going to be in the book, but because those are concept art, I made them to like figure it out some visual elements, and I'm going to use the best of those elements and draw in the book something maybe a bit different. But
Very
yeah,
nice.
it's kind of like the idea of those creatures.
Yeah, well, and it's just so much fun to see your designs because, again, they're just so unique. Like each one is nothing like the last one, which is so cool.
Well, I'm trying
you have
to.
an incredible imagination, honestly. I have to say.
Well, sometimes I look at Pinterest on
Hey, man,
ArtStation, and there's
that
people
works, man.
that do complete, they do such amazing things that they look like a magic. Yeah,
Really, even for you, man.
What?
Yeah, even for you, that happens, huh?
I don't consider myself to be that great of a designer, but I'm really putting an effort to make something interesting and something unique.
Well, I
And
definitely think you're off to a great start, man.
Thank you.
And books, is she? So, what can you tell us maybe about these characters? Are we going to get to see them in upcoming issues?
They're going to be in the book one, like in the beginning of the page. So basically, the first one, he's like a trader. He's like a dealer of magic and forbidden things. So if you want to get something, or if you want to sell something, he's the guy to go to.
Nice. He definitely looks like that.
Yeah. He likes to collect. He works in a museum, but he also like does this on the side. His main job, he's a dealer of forbidden things. And the second one, he's an occult engineer. He's the one who created Colton's gun. He also he uses different cursed things. Something when something is cursed, it has like weird properties to it, and he takes like those curses, those bad things, those properties, and he finds a way to with the help of magic and engineering to make devices that use those properties for something better, for something useful.
Okay. Oh, that's too funny. So yeah, people will come to him when they have these issues, right? And they get his help.
Something like that, yeah. So he can create. He is a creator of impossible devices and simple devices because Colton's gun isn't really magical. It's just engineering, but he also creates impossible devices. And the third one, he's like a socialite. He's like information broker. He knows all the rumors. He puts people together who needs something supernatural to be done, and those who can do it. So he's the one who gets a lot of like a high level jobs for Colton.
Nice, yeah. His
And,
kind of inner circle connect.
and he's a magician as well. And there's a lot of there's a couple of magic system in this world. So there's a magic system in this astral world called dream viewing, when you create like a forms out of your own astral form. And there's also like a real world magic systems. It's when this magical energy from the spirit world comes to our world, it breaks the rules of reality. That's why when in that exorcism scene, they were all floating, because demon was coming out of her, and it breaks the rule of reality. So the gravity where they are stop existing, stop functioning. But you can use that. You can use that to levitate. Like Colton has this umbrella that he uses to jump from building to building. He's like a magical Mary Poppins.
That's awesome.
Colton tries to stay away from ground level because something is haunting them.
Oh yeah, I remember reading a little blurb you put out about that a while back. He tries to avoid the ground because, like you said, there's something kind of haunting him, and the ground is, if he goes there, it's gonna get him essentially.
Yeah, it's
or at least that's what he's afraid of. At least,
and he is not really sure if he's losing his mind or it's real or not.
Right. If he's just paranoid, or if he's right to be paranoid, because you're only paranoid if it's not real. If it's real, then well, you're just right.
And there's a twist to that too.
Oh, cool, man! That's exciting. I can't wait to see that, and it'll be fun to see him fly and zip it around the city. Like later, I'm Mary Poppins out of here, yo.
I'm working currently on a page that is going to show his he's moving through the city with the help of his umbrella, and he's jumping on trains and riding them on top of the trains.
Oh man! Now I just want to see a Colton Crux video game, open world video game. I gotta go flying around, man. Oh man, that's too funny. Well, that's awesome. I just love everything about the series. You know, I think you've got a great book. You know, obviously, like you can see here on the team, you've got a screen. You've got a great team helping you out to make sure that this book comes out and gets put into people's hands and safe. You know, that it looks good and that it's going to be done right. You know, Matt, as you said, Matt Crux is the project manager, and he's fulfilled books before, so he definitely has experience.
Yeah,
so that's awesome, man.
Can I speak a bit about that? So
yeah, go for it.
So Matt is a project manager, so for him to feel like more safe about handling my money, we agreed that he's going to hold on to all of the money till the project is finished. So I'm crowdfunding like early, a year from release, because I want to know that there's going to be well, you see my illustration are very detailed, and I need to put a lot of time into them. I need to work on them full time if I want to make this book. So I crowdfunding now, but I'm not going to use those funds if I can help it. I just going to work, and I will know that there's funds to justify that I'm going to work on it full time. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. That makes sense. And because it's such a big project, you just want to keep on task. And once the project's done, you know, funds will go out in the books. It'll be printed, and everything will go out to the backers.
Yeah, but just for Matt to feel safe, and for people who maybe look at it and think it's a year away, it's a very long time. Matt going to keep all the money, and you can refund anytime you feel like you reconsidered, or anytime you.
Mm-hmm.
You change your mind. So Matt going to keep all the money, and later when the book is finished, he's going to print it. He's going to fulfill it. He has an experience with his own book. That's, by the way, both books are finished. First one is available for sale. Second one is going to be printed soon. Those are very really cool books. It's like a Indiana Jones set in ancient Rome.
Nice.
There's
That
a lot
sounds
of
fun.
content. It's a really cool book. I read. So yeah, he's going to hold on to the money, then print it, fulfill it, and when there's a profit, the rest of the profit he's going to pay to me.
Excellent, man. That's great to hear. And it does sound like there's no worries for people who, the might be, hesitant about backing. There's no worries about where the money is going to be and if you need to get a refund or, just worrying about it going through with the project. You can rest assured that everything's going to go smoothly and the
Yeah,
project's
because
going to get out on time.
it's really like it might sound shady from the side because someone other is handling my project. This is only because I can't just use Indiegogo in Ukraine.
Right.
It's like sanctions put on Ukraine, and we can't use Indiegogo. We can't use PayPal. So we had to find someone trustworthy to handle it for me. I really trust Matt. He's a really great guy. He's a really kind guy, and he fulfilled his own book, so I know I can trust him.
That's great, man. Yeah. No, I think it was a good choice to work with, honestly. I think, I think he's going to do you right there. So definitely excited. And it's nice that you can kind of work with someone like that to be able to put it out since you can't do it yourself.
Yeah. The fulfillment for sorry, the fulfillment from Ukraine would be way too costly, and I probably would have issues fulfilling from America,
Right.
using
That'd be
American firms from Ukraine. So it's better for him to just take care of everything.
oh yeah. I mean, it'll be cheap too. I mean, shipping everything out from where you were at or trying to deal with shipping yourself from America. It's just way too much. I think this is probably the best option, honestly, for everyone. It'll make it much more straightforward for everyone
Well, most
involved.
of my following live in America, so I have to make American shipping as cheap as possible. And well, it's still not cheap for me as Ukrainian, but I guess people find it all right. It's going to be shipped like Matt's book. He's very like he knows how to ship it, so they come not damaged and protected from water and everything. You know
Well,
what?
that's great, man.
He really good, ships his books well, so I trust him. And people really happy with the quality of his books.
Yeah. I imagine he'll be using the same printer, or yeah, he'll be using the same printer. I imagine for your book. One would assume. But no, that's awesome. So if that's the case, then people, like you said, people can be rest assured the quality is there as well with the books for not just the art but the printing as well, which is a big deal. So I think we're getting close to the end of our time here. I just wanted to ask: is there anything you can maybe tell us about the future of Colton Crux and what we can expect?
Well, right now, I'm trying to just focus on these books because it's a big project and it's a lot of art I still have to make, and it's like I put a lot of time so every page look very detailed and very interesting. A lot of designs. So I'm just focusing on this book, and yeah, there's definitely going to be other books in this series, but I'm focusing just on this book right now and
No, that
not
makes a
even
lot of
thinking
sense.
about anything else. I
Yeah,
need to
exactly.
make
Yeah,
this book, fulfill it, and if people happy, there's going to be more books.
exactly. Well, and that can come later, but like you said, just focus on this for now and let's get this thing done.
Yeah,
Now, uh, so let's see here. So the book is at currently at 4,000, as I said earlier, $4,795 and 31%. So still climbing. Got 17 days left and a possibility to extend, but it's a fixed goal, so it really needs your support, guys. So please go out there and back. I just put the link up on the screen. Go check it out if you like what you see today. Please check it out. Maybe check out some of the art and see if it's and read a little bit about it on the when you have a chance to go to the page and read it yourself. And I
it's a
think you're gonna
high
like it, man.
goal. I set a high goal, but I rather fail this campaign than fund and then uh, have some unexpected uh, spendings will be unable to fulfill it. So I rather fail campaign than fail my backers. So that's why I set a really high goal.
No, I think that was really smart, and it may be a high goal, but you're putting out really good quality work, and you're putting out something that people are going to really enjoy. So I definitely think that it's definitely worth the price. And yeah, definitely. And as we said earlier, there's a color version, a black and white version, or you can get both. So there's definitely some really cool options. I'm actually going to be picking mine up later tonight. I'm still trying to decide if I want to get the color they're both. Or, you know, I'm trying to decide. I'm definitely going to pick up a black and white myself because I dig that aesthetic.
So one thing
But
I will most likely make black and white copy, make black and white version exclusive. The
to
color
the
version will be still sold after the campaign. I'm not going to make my book
interesting.
exclusive, but black and white
Okay.
will probably exclusive, just to make it easier for me to fund my future projects.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and honestly, I think that adds even more value to it. Really, I mean, if people love that black and white aesthetic, then you should probably pick up, if not the black and white, definitely pick up both.
Black and white is my original vision because I like that style more, black and white style.
Right,
So,
it really works with that. Like you said, it works with that noir. I work on barrels with Jeff Lasley, and that's the same exact reason we went black and white, was because I love that old school kind of noir. It almost takes you back into a different time period. You know what I mean?
I was the one that brought was yours.
That's right. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Nashtobia here, he's actually consulted with us and given us advice, and he's been a great asset to us. So yeah, he actually introduced me to the artist I work with on barrels, Jeff Lasley. So that's pretty funny, isn't it? Kind of comes full circle there. But I appreciate that, man. Every day, I couldn't imagine barrels working on barrels with any other artist but Jeff. It was honestly the perfect pairing. So yeah, this man knows what he's talking about. But thank you so much for joining us, man, today. I appreciate it, and definitely looking forward to seeing your project coming out. Yeah, is there any way you're welcome, man? And is there any way people can follow you online or follow what you got going on?
Yeah, the best way to follow me would be on Twitter, just Nashotobi. But I'm on every social media. Was for promotional purposes. I sold books on basically on every social media so far. Yeah,
Really?
I have one from Tumblr, I have one from Reddit, I have one from Imgur, I have one from everywhere. From
that's the other
Instagram,
thing.
from Facebook.
See, I
really
want to mention this, man. You are probably one of the most clever and most genius people I've seen with the different sites. You go viral on like Imgur and like all these other places. I'm like, damn, this guy is a genius. How does he keep doing this? You're good.
I know some tricks, but also kind of disappointed this time around because I made a couple of projects of other people go viral on Imgur and made a lot of money for them. But for me personally, I went viral a couple of a week ago, I think, and I just made 3 sales. So it kind of
man.
so
Well, hopefully you can try again, man.
200,000 people saw it, and just 3 people bought it.
Damn.
That's kind of thing.
That's harsh. Yeah, I could see that. That's a tough one, man.
More.
That's funny, but yeah, you'll go back to it. What's that, man?
I just wanted to say that all of these 103 copies is thanks to all of my Twitter followers sharing and backing. Like no one is pushing this book beside me and my friends who helped me.
That's awesome, man. No, I think that's great. To show that appreciation back to your fans. That's what it's all about. So I definitely love to see that, man. And yeah, it definitely seems like they're coming out for you to support you here, man. So I definitely wish you luck on this project. I hope you guys reach your funding. Like I said, I'm new picking up the book. I love the book already, and I've been waiting for it forever. So I've been in. You sold me a long time ago on it. So definitely appreciate having you on, man, to talk a little bit about it today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, thanks as well. And please go check out the book. It is really cool. It's got a lot of amazing world building and characters and just so much to look forward to. So please go check it out and back it if you can. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We'll see you on the next Indie Spotlight. Take care.
Bye.